much of that at all. It seems to be scandal after scandal. I think there's a very serious problem there. Now, of course, there'll be people, depending on where you are on the political spectrum, they will accuse the BBC of bias. The BBC will never be free of that. But we're talking about something quite different.
Sorry to interrupt that, Rakib, but after their coverage of Gaza, or rather as their coverage of Gaza continues apace, it's absolutely, it's not a debating point, it's absolutely accurate that the BBC has been disgracefully biased against Israel, to the extent that many accuse the state broadcaster of being institutionally anti-Semitic. And frankly, I think there's a lot of truth in that.
Well, I think that with the BBC, what it should be is a balanced broadcast, and I think that far too often should operate in the spirit, in that professional spirit of neutrality, and I think all too often it falls well short of those standards that the public expects.
No, exactly right. I mean, as I say. I would say, look, this is not a debating point anymore. I think it was about 6 months ago, an organisation, they got 1,500 barristers to examine the BBC's coverage of Gaza ever since October the 7th. And they found something like sort of 1,500, 2,000 clear examples of prejudice against Israel. The BBC does not like Israel. Frankly, it doesn't seem to like Jewish people very much. And how it has allowed itself to fall into this pit of prejudice, to allow all this biased reporting, is a mystery to me. But yeah, Pete wants to come in.
May I offer just a quick idea as to why that is? And it's because people have confused neutrality with balance. It means that if you ask one side 10 questions, you have to ask the other side 10 questions. Sometimes one side has 20 questions to answer. They have confused the idea of being a neutral party as keeping everything fair. Sometimes, as a neutral party, one side is clearly in the wrong and the other side is clearly in the right, and you're there to ask the people in the wrong or in the right those questions. That is their job. They've confused balance with neutrality, and that's where they're getting all of this wrong. But I go back to, on the real question, I go back to Martin Bashir. I go all the way, with the Princess Di interview, because the idea that they could gaslight this woman with all these fake documents and nobody care. I'm sorry, that for me was a seminal.
Well, they covered it up.
They cover up, and in fact, they're still covering up. Yeah. They're still holding back the papers. They're still holding back all this information, and that's the main one for me.
Do you know what I always think the funniest thing about the Martin Bashir scandal? I'm not saying that it was one long big laugh, but what is funny is they found that he'd done all this.